Hi guys, welcome to chemistry today. For this week, we're going to be doing two things. One is we're going to be doing a practice ACT test, and the other is we're going to be talking about the scientific method. Now, you may be wondering why you need to take a practice ACT test. Most of you are sophomores and won't be taking that for another year, but you need to start practicing now. The only way to get good at an ACT test is to practice an ACT test. They're set up different than you think they would be. You think you need to know all this science knowledge, that you need to know everything that's going on, and that's not true. Basically, it's going to give you a little passage, a paragraph to read. It's going to give you a couple graphs and a couple charts, and it's going to want you to pick out some information. So what I want you to do is start with the questions. It's going to give you about, 6, 7 questions for the passage and the charts. So find that question. Start with the first question. Like the first one on our example today is going to be about E. coli. And you may be going, I have no idea what E. coli even is. It's a bacteria, by the way. But that's okay. You really don't need to know. What you need to know is that there's going to be E. coli in this question. There's going to be a graph about E. coli. There's going to be a paragraph about E. coli. And it really doesn't matter what E. coli is. So read the question and then go search for the answer. Don't try to read the entire paragraph. Don't try to read the graphs and the charts until you know what you're looking for. Chances are a couple of the answers are just going to be in the graphs themselves, and you will never even need to read the paragraph for that. So it's going to help just to read the questions first. So I'd like you to try, 10 or 15 of them and see how you do. You don't need to do this entire test. I do want you to try getting used to the format. So let's say 15 questions on that, if that sounds good for this week. If you get super excited and want to do some more, feel free, go ahead. But the basic idea is try a couple of them. They're divided into sections, little sections of things. So each one has a little reading, a graph, and a chart. So try the first little set of questions and then go look at the explanation and answers and see how you did. Were you able to pick out the information you needed? There's also explanations for all the answers. So you can go back and say, oh crap, that's what I did wrong. Okay, so on the next one you'll be better. And then maybe try the next little set of questions and answers and see how you do on that one. If you can get through 2 of the sample, sections, I think that'll be great for this time. That'd be a great place to stop. The other thing I want you to do is I want you to look at the scientific method. You guys learned the scientific method probably in like 5th or 8th grade, is my guess. And so I listed on the little question there, I let you do like a little chart with the scientific method steps. And I put a little video on there about like how you would use the scientific method to figure out why your car won't start. Stuff like that, everyday examples of the scientific method. Now, scientists take it a little bit more crazy than that, and they have to do a lot of steps that you wouldn't have to do when you see why your car won't start. Like, they're probably going to need to publish a paper after to let everyone know what's going on there. And you're probably not going to have to do that. I don't want to give too much of it away because I'm trying to have you figure that out. So what the extra steps would be. So I put an article about cold fusion from 1989. Well, it's a recent article looking at the failures of cold fusion. When I was in high school, this was a big deal. My senior year, the University of Utah came out with cold fusion, and they thought this would end the need for energy for the world, that we had unlimited energy now. And it was supposed to be this giantly cool thing. And it was a giant failure of a scientific experiment. And I'd like you to just look at that article. It's not real scientifically worded, but it is from Nature, so it's from a reliable source. And it's just kind of looking at the failures. I also put the actual news clips from 1989 about the experiment. If you really want to, you can Google 1989 cold fusion announcement. And there's a 38-minute video. That's just the actual press release. So just check that out, see what's going on with that. And then you just have to type me back an answer about why you think they failed, what step of the scientific method they missed. If you have no clue what the scientific method is, if you missed that in 5th or 8th grade, then you need to go back and Google scientific method and see what you can find out about it. Look for a couple videos, look for something about it, because I want you to get used to this. When you go to college, there's going to be days where they're going to be like, oh, remember this from high school? And you're going to go, I have no clue what you're talking about. And you need to be able to research that yourself, go back and say, okay, apparently I never learned about the scientific method, and go find out what that is on your own. I want you to practice that, okay? So that's all you've got to get done for this week. If you were in class or if you Zoom in, we're doing an experiment with a black bottle and trying to figure out what's in the black bottle, how it works. But you guys don't need to do that. It's something that's better live. If you want to stream on in, you're welcome to. I think it'll actually be taking place the last half of class, not the first half of class, is when that's going to happen. The first half of class has some other stuff going on, and I'm going to have them work on the ACT for a few minutes as well. So if you're Zooming in with us, I would not Zoom in the first 15 minutes. I took the waiting room off so you can Zoom in whenever you want, and you don't have to be added in at the first bit of class. So do that. Zoom in if you want to see the black bottle experiment. You could even yell out what things you think you want me to try with that experiment. And I'm guessing that will happen about 20 minutes into class. Okay? Thanks so much, and have fun this week. Thanks, guys.